And it is Tuesday, September 20th, 2022. 2 days away from the, fall equinox. The days are the same length as the nights. And then we go into the darkness all the way to December, the winter solstice. It's hot today. Might break a record here in central Illinois. Talking about maybe getting to 95 degrees. It's pretty hot for this time of the year. It's going to cool off, though, at the end of the week, which is nice. I like that fall, cool weather. Get it to about 65. It's nice. Cool at night. Get down to 50, 45, 50. Those are nice nights. All right, enough about the weather. I'm just looking. It looked like somebody was walking on the road up here. That's a semi coming. It's just the shadowing effect. It's the sun. We're talking about seasons. It's all based on the sun. The sun casting shadows. All right. The shadow of the monarchy is now, it's now gone. I was listening to this morning, they were talking about, of course, everything on the news is still about the monarchy and how the queen is gone. And the one guy, he was English, British. He was talking about, well, see, this is a good stabilizing factor for the British Kingdom, for the United Kingdom, for England. The monarchy helps to unite us in times of transition, because they have a new prime minister. In times of transition and change, it's a stabilizing force, the monarchy, for the British people, because of its endurance. And it doesn't matter who is, the current monarch. It's the fact that the monarchy goes on. And it's just this drivel, this sickening. It's just, hey, it's okay to have tyrants in control because they're stabilizing forces. I mean, at what point do you give up on this divine right of kings crap? And quit funding it. It's like everything else, quit funding it. All right, speaking of quitting, not getting funded, quitting the funding, stopping the funding, GetHedge had an article out yesterday. I don't have it in front of me. Of course, I couldn't read it because I'm driving. But it was about the Christmas season, this Christmas season. We're talking about Target, Walmart, Kohl's are cutting back. They're actually canceling orders. Canceling orders of products. Now, why would you cancel orders leading up to Christmas? What do they know? That was the point of the article. What do they know? Well, they know that the consumer's pretty much tapped out. They know that the Federal Reserve is making all those little store cards cost more money because the rates are going up. Interest. You're going to be paying more to let it sit on that card every month. And it might be something more nefarious to where maybe this economy just implodes. I mean, if nobody's got any money to spend, especially on discretionary items, use your discretion. Do you need a 72-inch TV? And those are the things that you're going to see not getting stocked probably. And you're going to have sales, I'm sure, to try and reduce inventory. That's what they were talking about. Kohl's was talking about it. You're going to have reduce the inventory sales. I mean, nobody's buying stuff apparently. And these stores don't anticipate people buying things for Christmas. And you think about it, you're going to go out and spend a bunch of money and buy the kids this and that, and have this great Christmas. And when, you're just worried about eating. Just be glad to get the freaking bird or ham on the table, whatever you eat. Tofurkey on the table this Christmas. Because I don't know if that tree, you're going to have much under that tree. There's so much junk. People worried about the environment going to crap. Look at all this paper that gets sent out. Just garbage. But anyway, it's not like the pollution in the seas from the fishing industry, though. Look into that one. That's the real culprit. All right. But yeah, you're looking at these stores, these mainstream retail stores, cutting back on not only inventory, but on their, man, it is hot today, on their current order supply, their supply chain, what they're bringing into the stores. It's a big deal. It just goes to show that they don't think that the American consumer is going to be that strong this Christmas. They're not counting on us. That's understandable. I mean, it's a pinch right now. You got the Federal Reserve meeting today and tomorrow. I think they announced tomorrow what the rate increase is going to be. Probably going to be 0.75. So that's why you're looking at the crypto market You know, in other markets, they're just kind of like, they don't want to make a move. They don't want to break too hard to the downside, too hard to the upside, because of the uncertainty of what that decision will be. And it'll probably pop. They'll start moving right after the decision gets made. You know, 0.75 is priced in, and once that happens, the markets will probably take off, because at that point they know, and there's no blind side where they come in and say, hey, we're raising by 1.5. What the heck? You know, it's going to scare the markets. Or they drop and say, hey, we're only going to raise by 0.5 or 0.25. Then the markets get spooked, because they're thinking, oh crap, Fed's not raising as much. They must be scared that the economy's slowing down. You know, and then, recession. So the Fed's got this balancing act that they need to do, and that's all it is. It's an act. I mean, you know, it doesn't really matter what they do at this point, because what they do now affects what happens later. What is happening now is a result of what they've already done. So it's already done. You know, it's like you've cooked a loaf of bread, and then you say, and I've done this, and then you're into it, and you get ready to take it out of the oven, and you're like, ah, crap, I forgot to put the sugar in it. And then you're like, well, I can always add it. And, well, no, it's already done. You can't mix it up. It came out of the bowl and went into the pan. It was in the oven cooking. You can't mix the sugar in it. Well, let's just put it on top. It's not the same. It's not going to work. So that's kind of what the Fed's doing. They've already baked it. They've already got the loaf of bread out there, and now they're like, we put too much sugar in it. We got to take the sugar out. How do we do it? Well, you got to make another loaf of bread with less sugar in it. The problem is, it's still got to bake, so it's going to take some time before anybody can digest it. And that's where we're at in the economy. They've already baked the bread, and there's nothing they can do about it. Looks like we got some mowing going on up here. Oh boy. So they've already baked the bread, and we're consuming it right now. And now they realize, well, we got to figure out what we're doing here. I got to watch what I'm doing here. We got tractors everywhere. I'm in tractor country. Don't want to get hit. Don't want to hit tractors. Got those big mower decks on. So that's what's coming up. Fed makes a decision in a couple of days. That will, I would say, probably make the crypto market go up. That's my guess. And you know what? I look at it now. I'm looking at a $51, $52 Litecoin. And I just last night just looked back at the charts. Look back at the last halving event, which was in 2019. And in June-ish, you saw Litecoin kind of pump up. And that's what you see leading up to these halving events, because what happens is, the halving event, for those of you who don't know, when the block halving occurs, that is when the rewards get cut in half. So right now you've got miners, you've got equipment out there processing the transactions on the Litecoin blockchain, and it's the same for Bitcoin. But you've got them processing it on the Litecoin blockchain. So every 2.5 minutes, a block of transactions gets stamped, moved along, and it becomes part of the blockchain forever. You always go back and look at those transactions within that block of transactions. So every 2.5 minutes, you have a new block. Block, block, block. It gets confirmed on the network. And the miner who confirms it, that solves these calculations, whatever, there's a race to do the confirmation of the block. The one who confirms it gets the reward. And the reward right now is 12.5 Litecoin per block every 2.5 minutes. That's what gets produced. It's on a fixed timeline. Well, it's going to have next August. So then every miner is only going to get 6.25 Litecoin per block. So the reward gets dropped, and therefore there's less Litecoin being produced. It becomes more scarce, and until it gets to the point when there's no more Litecoin produced. So the next time it's going to be like 3.12125, something like that per block. Every 4 years that halves. So you see the diminishing supply of Litecoin. Right now you have 71 million Litecoin in existence, and there's only a total of 84 million. The vast majority have already been created and they're on the market. And so what's left is a diminishing pie. So it's not going to get any cheaper in the future, especially as it becomes more adopted with all the technology that's built into it. It's not going to get any cheaper, and the purchasing power will just go up, especially if they continue to inflate the dollar. So I was looking at the charts long term, and then you get a rise up, 6 months or so leading up to that halving event. So next halving event is in August of next year. That's the 8th month. So I would expect by March, you're going to start seeing steady increases for Litecoin all the way up into that time frame. I would say probably by January, and then by the halving, it may actually dip. Or we could be in another cycle to where the use case actually hits the mainstream and then just continues to go up from there because of the scarcity factor and the privacy factor. But, historically, that's what happens. You'll get a little bit of a run up leading to the halving event. And so you'll see that price movement. But anyway, not that matters. The whole point is they're inflating to infinity. They're making it look like they're making it difficult and saving you from inflation, making it difficult to get the money and create more money, which is BS. It's a temporary setback. I could be wrong. Maybe this is the time they completely pull the plug on it and implode the whole system at that point. You're probably going to want to make sure you've got water, food, silver, access to heat, plenty of backup food, things to survive, things in your hand. Litecoin will still be good. However, you're going to want something, the closer it is to you, the better off you are at that point. If they really do pull the plug on this and just drive us into a depression. Litecoin will still work. Litecoin will still do very well as far as a change, exchanging value. But, the money will have to implode. People will have to see that the money's worthless. They'll go to another form of money. If they've got silver, they'll use it. If they've got paper bills, they'll use those really quickly, and then they won't have value anymore. Eventually, it will go to cryptocurrency. It's just that there's a learning curve, and if you're not prepared for it, it's much easier to pick up a silver ounce and barter with that, or items that you already have. So you want to have barter items, things that you have in your possession. Those little airplane bottles of whiskey, vodka, those kind of things, those are handy. Good barter item, cigarettes, cigars, bottled water. There are a lot of things that, just think of the things that people need on a daily basis or want on a daily basis. Chocolate, as long as you can store it somewhere where it doesn't melt. People love chocolate, in hard times, it's a comfort food. So, if it got that bad, I don't think it will. I'm just trying to game every scenario. That's what you have to do. You have to think about, okay, it could go like you don't expect. So, or it could go all the ways that you expect, just maybe not where you're at. Maybe over here it does, and over here it doesn't, and here, it's all different. If you're living in a big city, it's going to go differently than it does out here. Living in a foreign country, that's, got 10 million people in the city, it could be different. And you don't have access to water. So you think Jackson, Mississippi, just not that long ago, the water supply. What happens if the city's water supply shuts off and you don't have a well because they made you fill it in when the public water came in? What are you going to do then? So you got to think about those things just in case. Just in case there's an earthquake. You saw hurricane in Puerto Rico. It's good to be prepared no matter what and have different things no matter what. If we're going to continue to live in a digital age, which I think that's what has to happen, if humanity is going to progress, and even then, I think even the totalitarians, the vampires running things, that's what they want anyway. That's why we have cryptocurrency, because they want to use that as a tool to manipulate you. They want to be able to have digital money they can control you with. So to them, a technocracy with all of this technology, it's easier for them to control you. Think social media, they can track you. It's much easier for them to maintain control, in their minds it is, to maintain control of people through this technical infrastructure than it is if there was no technology. Think of the brainwashing, and the large-scale brainwashing they can do because of the technology, because of television sets in every house, because of phones in every hand. It's easier to at least get it in your face and attempt to brainwash you. However, it comes with a downside. You've got access to more information. And so the hardcore people are going to wake up. They've got the tools and they're like, hey, wait a minute. And they find people who are like-minded and they start waking up. So you've got a hardcore group of people that's aware. And once you see, that's the thing, once you see the truth, you can't go back. Once you're awake, you can't go back to sleep. I mean, you can withdraw from society and just not be a part of it, which I find myself doing sometimes. I'm just like so awake, I can't take it. I just don't want to be around it anymore. Disconnect. Yeah. But the thing is, you can't get it out of your head. Once you see it, you've seen it, and you know, and it's just, you know, you have to do something, whatever it is. You can't just sit back idly and do nothing. It just weighs on you. So that's where you're at. I just think they would rather have that high technocratic, you know, Terminator, Matrix, you know, whatever, you know, all the movies that show the horrible future that, you know, when these controllers actually don't have to get physically engaged with you, when they can just sit back and pull levers and push buttons and send robots out to do whatever they want to you. That's where they want to be. That's their end game, I think. So technology is here to stay. We just have to make sure that they don't use it against us in such a way. We got to make sure we put the reins on them. And that starts with the money. If they can create unlimited amounts of money, they're going to continue to create unlimited horrors to foist upon us. We have to make sure we take control of the money. And now that we can front run it with cryptocurrencies, we need to do that. Sneeze. You know, when you have to sneeze, you know you have to sneeze, and you acknowledge the sneeze, you can't sneeze. One of those things. All right, I should wrap this up. So, yeah, if it is a technological age, you know, just be prepared for it. Just have the money that's going to work in that technological age. You know, have Litecoin, have Bitcoin, have DigiByte. You know, have those currencies you can hold in your possession that have a limited supply and that people are going to want. Because if there's a limited supply of anything, just think water in the desert, how valuable is it? If you have it and you see it coming, you know, you're way ahead of the game. So it's just how it works. All right, I hope you have a wonderful Tuesday, and thanks for watching. You know, as with all these things, take it for what it's worth. I mean, if anything resonates with you, that's awesome. You think it's going to help somebody else, you know, wake somebody else up, maybe put them on the path they were born to be on, because that's the key. Not here to change anybody's, you know, path. I just want you to think about what your path is and, you know, trust yourself and take the path that's best, that you know you need to take. And if I'm a part of awakening you to do that, that is all I am here to do. So if you think somebody can benefit from these videos, go watch some of the older videos and share them. Share them with people. Hit that thumbs up if you liked it, and hit subscribe, hit that notification bell. You'll get a notification every time I make a video, and I'd appreciate it. You know, maybe somebody can benefit from it. All right, love y'all. Always trust yourselves. That's the key. Always trust yourself. You know all the answers, more so than anyone else. So trust your gut. All right, have a wonderful day. Love y'all.